Tone Deaf is the journey of a musical theater nerd, bringing musicals into the life of their musically challenged spouse. The reactions to the musicals are real and mostly unedited. This show is rated explicit for mature content and strong language. Now sit back, relax, and have a laugh. You're listening to Tone Deaf.
Welcome to this very special episode of Tone Deaf. As you can hear, we are at Latte's Destruction Corner, live on location.
Latte is shredding a box that contained components for a device that we are now speaking into.
Yes, Latte is eating the box that was from the Rode NT USB microphone. Uh-oh, she has noticed.
The dog is now silent. She appears to be licking herself.
I believe that we can start our actual episode now. Welcome to Tone Deaf.
So I was intently listening to the sound of her cleaning herself, like, is she done? Will she go back to the box?
I don't know. So yeah, listeners, be warned, our third co-host has received a box.
I had the very bright idea of giving her a box right before we started to record for whatever reason, and then she starts to shred it, and we're like, oh, well, okay then.
Yep, so
I don't know what I thought would happen.
The shredding noises will be her. So welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren. I'm musically challenged.
So thank you all so much for all of your downloads and your listening and your sharing and your subscribing. We love you guys so much. This is just, it's a nice little treat before we take a break for January. We still have one more episode after this, but then we're going to be taking a break because I decided to bite off more than I can chew. But we'll talk about that later.
We put out a lot of content. I think we deserve a break.
We definitely deserve a break. So if you want to share us with friends, yeah.
In reality, we'll take a break. In reality, we're not taking a break.
No.
We're just not posting anything. We're still doing work.
People will have a break from us.
That's a more accurate way of putting it. Unless you interact with us on social media, in which case you won't have a break.
You won't have a break, because every so often I'll be coming into social media going, why did I do this to myself?
And I just poke her going, it's your fault. You did it to yourself.
Yep. So,
because I'm a supportive husband like that.
Yep. So, thank you guys so much. Thank you for reviewing and following us on Podchaser. That's a really awesome platform that we're on. That is, it's one of my favorite ones to go to now, and I really wish that they had it available to us at work, because you can review individual episodes and stuff, which is way awesome. And Ruckland is probably our top reviewer with a lot of episodes he has reviewed, and they are wonderful masterpieces. And they always make my day.
Yeah, Ruckland is a boss, man.
Yeah. So, with everything out of the way, are you ready for our second to last show of the year?
Yes, because I'm actually very intrigued by the concept of this.
Yes. So we are going to be covering MeshugaNutcracker.
Now I have to ask, in all of your research, do you know what the word Meshuga means?
You'd think that I would have looked that up.
Because I don't know if it's a real name, a real thing or not.
Instead of doing a deep dive on what Meshuga means, I tried to do as much of a deep dive on MeshugaNutcracker. Hint, there's not much about it.
So,
as well as...
Let's have some good radio here. Okay, Google. What does Meshuga mean? Oh, it picked up your laughter. Okay, Google. What does Meshuga mean?
Balls.
Adjective. Meshuga. Senseless. Crazy. Meshuga. Meshughi. Meshuganeh. Meshuganer. Yiddish, a dialect of High German including some Hebrew and other words, spoken in Europe as a vernacular by many Jews, written in the Hebrew script. So, senseless crazy.
That actually makes sense with what I
It's a senseless
was
crazy
able to
nutcracker.
find with this. So it is a Hanukkah musical. It was written by Scott, Shannon, and Stephen Guggenheim. It was first performed in 2003 at the Bay Area. And this is from the official website for MeshugaNutcracker, one of, like, the 2 sources that I can find for this show. That weren't just the same thing over and over again. The MeshugaNutcracker is a full-length musical comedy that features the wonderfully silly sensibilities of the folklore of Chelm, the fictional town of fools, underscored by an invigorating klezmerized orchestration of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite, now with original lyrics that celebrate Hanukkah, Judah Maccabee's triumphant saga, and the accounts of perseverance during the Holocaust, as well as the celebration of the first Hanukkah in the new state of Israel, emerge with a genuine sense of wonder as the Chelmniks, I'm trying to pronounce things correctly, and so I've got things written out phonetically, tell 8 stories that pay tribute to the holiday. Add in dancing dreidels singing Sofkenyot, Sofkenyot. It's a dessert, like a pastry.
Sounds soft.
And surprise guest stars, and you have the perfect recipe for a holiday gathering. Some might call it crazy. We call it the MeshugaNutcracker.
Which means crazy nutcracker.
Yes. So, a lot of references that I have regarding the show itself are either from the official site or the review by Kevin Kirby at Metroactive. Without going into too many specifics on the show, since I want you to go in with as few spoilers as possible, I'll just reiterate, this takes place in the fictional town of Chelm. The townsfolk are doing an annual Hanukkah pageant, and the director goes missing. It's also an edutainment show, as Kirby says in the article.
Edutainment, I love that.
This educational component is mostly successful. However, 2 key components.
It's mostly successful. And for every one thing you learn, you forget something else.
First, the Chelmniks micro-reenactment of the entire 8-year Maccabean revolt. And second, a sequence explaining the show's Yiddish vocabulary occur late in the second act, but provide information and context that would have been useful much earlier.
I was going to say, I'm like,
Pro tip, there's a glossary in the back of the program. If words like Shamash and Megillah, don't ask, because I didn't look that one up either. I did look up Shamash.
oh my god, you just have some of the best words. Like, they sound so great.
Yeah, are Greek to you. You might peruse this before the show begins. So, that's about all that I have on the show itself. So,
Interesting.
how much do you know about Hanukkah?
Very, very, very little. I joked with you that I called it Jewish Christmas,
Which it is decidedly not.
and it was like, I know that it's not Jewish Christmas, but growing up relatively Christian or Christian adjacent, not knowing any Jewish people growing up, I never had anybody to explain to me what Hanukkah was. So I guess the short form of it is something happened in the past and they had a shortage of oil, and it was a miracle that the oil lasted 8 days when it should have only lasted like 1 day. And so they light a menorah, which is the fancy candle holder. And I don't know if they... I think they light a candle for each day. And I don't... This is where it's going to get like really murky. I'm like, I know there's gifts involved on some days. I know that there's special food, you know, that they eat, but that's like very murky territory.
That's, you know what, though? That's actually more than I thought you knew.
I love when I can surprise my wife.
So, a lot of this that I got, I pulled from Chabad.com.
Chabad.
For this quick rundown. Because I had very few Jewish friends growing up, just because Utah. But
I told you about the one black kid that I knew when I was in
Yeah.
elementary school.
yeah, and only one of them actually celebrated Hanukkah, and was actually like religious. The others weren't. So, and of course, it was so far back in my childhood that I do not remember anything.
Given how often you do deep dives on stuff, I'm surprised that you just off the top of your head don't know a bunch of stuff about Hanukkah. Not to like put you on the spot and be
No.
like, why don't you know, Kay?
Because there's so many other things that are warring in my head. I mean, I started my other deep dive at about the same time, and so every so often as I'm writing things from history of black theater will peer in, and I'm like, no, not yet. Go back. Stay back in the other part of the brain matter. You're not needed yet. Wait your turn. You'll never hear me say that about black theater any other time.
I was like, do I make the joke or do I not? And then you made the
But
joke.
when I need to use my knowledge for something else. Anyway, so on the Hebrew calendar, it always starts on the 25th of Kislev, which is the month that would correspond to December and November on the solar calendar. And it lasts for 8 days.
I do know that Hebrews have a completely different calendar from us. Like I think for them it's like by their calendar it's like the year 6000 and something versus the
Yeah, and it goes
Gregorian
by
calendar.
the lunar cycle instead of a solar cycle, meaning it's more accurate.
it's lunar, kind of like the Chinese calendar.
Chinese, the Islamic
Yeah,
calendar.
most calendars follow the lunar cycle
Yeah.
versus the solar cycle.
Yeah, the smart calendars. I don't know. Once I realized the difference, thanks to Drunk Dish Pod, shout out to Drunk Dish Pod, I was like, dang it. This makes a lot more sense to my brain.
It's the kind of thing, it's like when you learn about the metric system for the first time and you're like, wait, everything is divisible by 10 and 100? That makes a
Why
lot
are
more...
we not doing that here?
Yeah, same kind of thing.
Same thing. So this year, Hanukkah runs from December 22nd to December 30th. And again, that's because we go on the solar calendar. But yeah, so that's for this year. Hanukkah celebrates both the triumph of the Maccabees, a small Jewish army, over the much larger Greek army that had been occupying their land, as well as the supply of oil that burned for 8 days, which is the amount of time it takes to purify oil. They only had enough for 1 day. The menorah that they lit, it was in their temple. And it was one of the only things that wasn't completely desecrated by the Greek armies that came in. And, were sacrificing in their temple to their gods, and that's a big no. And, I'll get into that in the history bit in a sec. The candles are lit each night, as you had thought. The first night, you light the first light and then the shamash, which is the attendant candle. And then the next night, you light two lights and the shamash, and so on until you have all 8 nights.
So the attendant candle, is that the middle one? Like, where...
Yes, that is the middle candle.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what I saw. Yes. Shoot. Yes.
Okay.
So, you also will have a lot of foods that are fried in oil, which is, again, the miracle of the oil. This is where you get your latkes with Ashkenazi Jewish people or your other Eastern European Jewish people, or you get sofkenyots, is another one of them. Dairy is also consumed during this holiday, which commemorates another hero, Yehudit, or Judith, who assassinated a Greek general, the General Holofernes, by getting him drunk on wine and cheese and then beheading him with his own sword.
Damn! That chick is hardcore.
And I read the whole story, and I was... because that was one that as I'm reading it, I'm going, oh, I remember this, but I didn't have a context for what I remembered with it, and I'm going, wow, this is...
Do you know if
No one tells us this.
Do you know if she escaped or if she was
She
killed?
did.
Okay.
She escaped
So-
with his head.
Nice. Okay.
And
So
brought it back to her generals and was like, here you go, he's
Wow.
dead.
Holy crap, that's hardcore. I was because I wasn't sure if it'd be a case of like she succeeded in killing him, but then was killed by his
Yeah,
troops.
no,
like,
she utters that, she says a prayer basically saying, give me the strength to do this, and then just whack.
Damn.
And yeah, and basically liberates this city from the Greek general that had been controlling it. And
That's hardcore.
yep, and so that's why dairy is consumed, because she had made him goat cheese that was really rich, and so then she gave him unfiltered wine that she had made, and so he was just getting drunker and drunker, and then just falls asleep. And yeah, then kids will receive gifts, usually the monetary gifts, and they also will play the dreidel games, which is that little top.
It's the little rectangle, the square top.
Yeah, and
the
I used to know how to play it.
the first time God damn, I hate this memory. The first time I ever saw what a dreidel was or saw anything to do with a dreidel was from a South Park episode.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Dreidel, dreidel,
so,
dreidel, I made you out of clay. And when you're dry and ready, with dreidel I shall play.
When I was 5, we did a holiday pageant, and this was like the first time that I realized that Christmas was a Christian holiday, and B, realized that Hanukkah was a thing, because even though my grandparents were Catholic and my mom was Catholic, they tried everything to make me not Catholic. Well, not make me not Catholic, but they sort of shielded me from
They were like, this
being forced into a religion
they're
at
like,
all.
this young girl is sensitive enough. If she has the Catholic guilt, she won't survive.
Exactly. And so it was really cool because they had the one Jewish kid that was in our kindergarten. He did a presentation on the dreidel, and it was so cool. And it was one of those like, oh, this is neat. And I think I'm trying to remember if we made little dreidels out of like cardboard and stuff, because it was a good daycare.
I know that the dreidel has different
Yeah.
symbols on each side. Or they're probably not symbols, they're words. But
They're words, yeah.
And I assume that you spin it, and then when it stops, whatever side is facing up is probably important.
Yeah, I think that they'll go into that with this show, because this show, again, is educational plus entertaining. They'll go into it in the second act, apparently. And then, according to Chabad.com, it's also customary to give increasing donations each day to charity.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's way awesome.
God, man, because, like, I like that. I like that it's more charity.
I mean, Christmas is supposed to be that way, but a lot of people don't do it.
And some people are really good with it, and then, others not so much, but...
Yeah, I mean, that was the one good thing about the Lutheran school that I went to, was that we always did, like, food drives and stuff, and actually went to the food bank to help sort and stuff, which, that was awesome. And I mean, this is elementary school that they were having us do that, so... But, let's see. So, the article that I got, talking about the meaning of Hanukkah came from Yehuda Sherpin on Chabad.com. Hanukkah can mean inauguration. Basically, in terms of the holiday, it celebrates the temple in Jerusalem when it was rededicated after the Maccabees defeated the Greeks and drove them from Judea. The temple and the altar had been defiled, so they buried the stones of the old altar and built a new one and rededicated it. It may also reference a conjugation that would be Chanukah, which would be they rested, and 25, so they rested on the 25th day of Kislev.
Okay.
And that's the day that the Maccabees rested after defeating the Greeks. So it's all around this revolt, basically, is what I'm bringing in with that. Decidedly not the same thing as Christmas.
You want to know how dumb your husband is?
What?
When you were sounding it out, when you were saying Chanukah, your husband imagined a Yiddish Goku. Chanukah. I mean, that would be one way to drive out the Greeks, you know.
Judah Maccabees did not do a Kamehameha.
I'm just saying it would have been cool if they did. Like, I mean, if you want to convert me, if you can shoot laser beams from your hand, I will totally believe.
Oh my god. So, it can also be an acronym that can mean a couple of things. It can either be the Hasmoneans prevailed and killed all the enemies, or it's an acronym that's based on a disagreement regarding the candles and how they should be lit.
I like that.
So, the Beit Shammai said, which was one of the schools of learning, said that the candles are all lit on the first night, and then you take away a candle each night. And then Beit Hillel said, no, you start with one, and then light a candle each night. And this is what's accepted now. So the acronym for that would have been 8 candles, and the halacha is according to Beit Hillel.
Is a halacha like a Jewish hollerback? Ain't no halacha girl, ain't no halacha girl.
Oh, Lord.
I can
No.
I can hear the divorce papers being written up in your mind.
No. God. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get through the rest of my little lesson.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, the article on the meaning of Hanukkah closes out with this. Some point out that Hanukkah is related to the word chinuk, meaning education. The Greeks issued decrees against Jewish education and forbade circumcision, which is the mitzvah that begins in Jewish boys' education. On Hanukkah, we celebrate our freedom to provide our children with a proper Jewish education.
Including cutting off the tip of your penis. Not the tip, not the tip of your
Not
penis.
the tip.
But
It's
yeah. The
foreskin.
The foreskin.
That's a different
Thank
part
you.
of the penis.
Thank you. Well,
Utah sex ed.
You know, I can see the perspective of the Greeks, though, being like, stop cutting off part of your dick. Stop it. Like, but God wants us to.
Well, and that's the other thing, though, is that the Jewish people weren't the only ones doing that.
They weren't?
They did that in Africa, too.
I did not know that. I knew it was, I guess not uniquely Jewish, but the only culture that I knew that...
Yeah, no, there
that.
have been circumcisions and other... there are also amazing things that other cultures will do with a penis that are... Crack.com has had some horrifying articles that make me go, I've never been so glad that I don't have one of those.
What is it with mutilating genitals? Just no. Leave it alone.
I don't know. I'm not gonna start on the circumcision debate. We're not having kids, so it's not a worry.
That's fair.
It's not a worry at all. Unless they decide to do something in America to all women, then it will be a worry.
Okay, fair enough. And of course, your idiot husband's just having its stream of consciousness. Oh, squirrel. Oh, squirrel.
Oh, God.
So
that was the very quick, uneducated Gentiles rundown of Hanukkah for you.
I know.
As I kept trying to and kept fucking up names and words that I had tried to practice.
You did better than I would have.
Yeah. So, are you prepared then for something that will definitely be better than the original Nutcracker?
I'm so tired of the regular.
Oh my gosh. So when I was a kid, there was a VHS of a Nutcracker production, And I legit had fucking nightmares for years about the Rat King from it. He just scared the fuck out of me.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I remember being a kid, and December as it got closer to Christmas, that's when when you're doing school parties or whatever, you're having free time, like they want to make fun stuff as well as like showing on TV. So I saw the Nutcracker so much as a kid that I hated it for a long time. I still am not fond of it. And so when you said that we're doing the MeshugaNutcracker, I was like, hey, something that is different. Like,
yes.
I am so excited to see something different.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm just like, this'll be so much better. Because I like Tchaikovsky and I like the music from the Nutcracker, but it's really hard for me to separate most of it from the ballet, unless I think of Fantasia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the only other time that I can be like, okay, Nutcracker's fine. But
that's fair.
So this will hopefully replace the Nutcracker in my mind. But yeah, it was really fun looking more into Hanukkah and stuff, because I wish that they would talk about it more in schools and tell you more about it. And maybe they do in public school. I don't know, because I didn't go to public school until I was a teenager. So by that time, they're not really teaching you about different holidays and stuff, because I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm kind of excited, too, because this was just a brief rundown of Hanukkah and stuff, and I'm excited to know more, and the stories have me excited, so yay.
Yay.
So are you ready?
I am sugar ready.
All right, let's go watch MeshugaNutcracker. Hi folks, we wanted to take a quick moment to thank our Patreon sponsors.
Thank you to our stage crew sponsor, Jasmine Wu, and our producer circle sponsors, Bianucci and Reagan.
Thank you so much for your continued support of our show.
We truly appreciate it. And now, let's hear from our friend David S. Deere at A Ninth World Journal.
This is A Ninth World Journal. A careless experiment with a teleportation device has left me stranded in random places throughout the Ninth World. While trying to survive in these strange lands, I must find a way to reverse my condition.
A Ninth World Journal is a science fantasy audio drama podcast. Subscribe to listen or visit ninthworldjournal.com.
And now, the lights are going down and the music is starting back up. So let's hop into the second act of the show. Okay, babe, so, what'd you think of that one?
The title was accurate.
Yep.
Title was accurate, since we looked up what Meshugana means. That it's, crazy and,
yeah.
nonsensical.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was to the music of Nutcracker. So, this is one of those musicals where I'm like, spot on, you guys. Nailed it with the title. But remember when I joked about South Park being the first thing that ever taught me about Hanukkah? Well, this show opens up with what looks like a child's picture book, and we're given colorful front-loaded credits. I just started laughing because it looked like comparable quality to something you would see in South Park, and so I just started laughing my ass off
like
right
the
away.
Pilot episode of South Park.
It did, where it's like paper cutouts and stuff. It was pretty entertaining. The opening number has the cast talking about how, as Jews, they can't get away from Christmas, which is why they go out for Chinese and to the movies, regaling the audience with how cool Hanukkah is, to the tune of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. So after each note, I'm going to look at you. If you have anything you want to say about whatever the fuck happened in that scene, please feel free. Kay picked up so much more. Kay picked up so much more than I did because there were so many Hebrew puns in this show that anything that they could use, like, wow, like, so many puns.
The other thing is that this show is so bright and colorful. Mm-hmm. So bright and colorful and so fast and so...
incredibly fast.
So bizarre.
My notes are massively incomplete.
There are things that my brain is like going, wait, was it here that this happened? Or was it here that wait, no, what? Where?
I can hear Latte with her shreddy box again.
Yep.
So, the mayor tries to welcome everyone to the production, but is constantly interrupted by the colorful, cartoonish cast, who makes lots of Yiddish puns related to other shows, but with Hebrew flair. Oi!
My favorite was Sabbath Express.
So lots of things like that. Way more than I even registered, because I'm trying to type, and Kay is just giggling and laughing her tits off. Like, just... Kay got so much more out of this show than I did, because Kay is smarter than I am, and Kay caught all of the more nuanced references, and I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck did they say? This is one of those shows where we had subtitles, and they did me no good.
Yeah, they did. Subtitles will not help you.
Unless you speak Yiddish.
Like... there are parts that Warren is giving me more credit than he should.
Maybe I'm mistaking your laughter and knee slapping for understanding rather than just being like, what the hell was that? I turned my phone sideways and it refreshed and screwed up where I was on my note.
Oh my god. They had oh gosh, what was it? They had a Sweeney Todd one.
Yeah.
With the horrible sound that played every time that the barber's chair got... oh god.
Yeah, that whistle blow.
That horrible whistle.
It's like a steam whistle, right?
Yeah, and they had that steam whistle play a lot longer than it ever did in Sweeney Todd. Yeah, they let it drag a little bit longer.
Okay.
Though it was enough to make me go, okay, stop.
They were just trying to drive the point home, I guess.
Yes.
On a side note, the cast is reminiscent of the Yiddish version of Clue. Like,
oh my god,
right?
They are!
We had Professor Plum, Mrs. Scarlet, Colonel Mustard. They're all here, but Jewish and not killing anyone. But they are telling a tale of murder. I guess it's more self-defense than murder.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's self-defense.
But like everybody was color-coded. Like the only time that colors overlapped is that there was a blue woman and a blue guy.
Yes.
And the blue woman was, so it was like, the mayor was red, his wife was like a sapphire blue, and then there was a pink lady who played like the youngest girl in all the skits. There was a woman in green who was more of like the motherly character. Then there was a woman in orange who just kind of played other female characters. And then we had the older man who was Colonel Mustard. Professor Plum was like
was the rabbi.
Yeah, was the rabbi, but he was also played like... I mean, his stuff ranged from being a little boy to being just a man.
Yeah.
And then we had Little Boy Blue, who had a frickin' yarmulke with a whirly thing on top. So he was like the little... Like, him and the pink girl were always like the children in whatever silly children thing they were doing. Did I miss a character? I feel like I'm missing somebody. I feel like I'm missing a guy. Maybe. Anyway... It doesn't matter.
Let's see. Blue. So with the women, blue, pink, orange, green. With the men, blue, red,
mustard,
purple. That's the right amount, because
Okay.
the 9th person we find later.
Okay, gotcha. So that's all 8. So so this is a cast where there's more women than men,
Yes.
which I don't think I registered. Not that it matters, but anyway. The first story that they tell is the origins of the town of Helm. In short, God gave 2 angels a bag of souls each, and told them to distribute them evenly across the world. But the angels were clumsy and dropped a bag, which means that Helm is full of wise souls, but they're also fools. I'm having a hard time following that part a bit.
So what it was is that God hands out a bag to all the angels, like, hey, here's a kind person, here's a mean person, here's a bag of...
Oh, so each bag was a specific type of soul.
Was a specific type of
Okay.
soul, and they had to be distributed evenly. And
I
then
missed that. So the one angel had the bag that was specifically
fools, and the other angel had the bag that was specifically wise people. And they talk about one of these 2 was clumsy and dropped the bag. Now, a lot of people would say that it was the angel that had the bag of fools, but we here in Helm know that it's the bag of wise people.
Yep, and so they're always
And
talking about how
that's-
wise they are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up, because
Which I like that origin.
they were so freaking fast on so much stuff. Like, I only had to have you pause it once. But yeah, you were funny too, because you were like, they are going really fast. So you almost had that tone in your voice of like, I'm surprised you haven't asked me to pause more.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, this was kind of akin to an acid trip.
Oh, but this
This
I
was a delightful acid trip.
I have a joke about that later.
Excellent.
But this was like this show was an experience. It really was.
Everyone should experience
It's
it,
on
too.
it's on Amazon Prime. So if
Yes.
you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it. It is entertaining. It is definitely absolutely worth a watch, especially if you're like me and you knew next to nothing about Hanukkah, because they do give you quite a good dosage of Jewish culture to help you, understand it. Because, of course, being raised where I was, like I said, I didn't know a single Jewish person, so I didn't know really anything about it. Okay. Oi! We waltz through the flowers onto the next story, which is funny because they're singing to the tune of Waltz of the Flowers, and I only know that because Kay told me that's what the name of the song was. Wait! They're all in pink ballet skirts and have candle hats. They like to sing about the importance of Hanukkah and how the candle brings light and Hebrew. Lots and lots of Hebrew is being spoken. Also Yunkel. Where is Yunkel? They say that in the beginning. They're like, where is Yunkel? Yunkel should be here.
Yeah.
Yunkel was supposed to be...
He was their director and...
their prop guy, too.
Yeah.
Because they say, I guess Yunkel is the prop guy, and they were complaining about his work ethic and how he has very contrived methods of prop delivery.
Yes.
It was all about, well, he was trying to carry the props one by one, and so we got him a wheelbarrow, but he couldn't load them in the wheelbarrow, so he decided to take them all to the shed, and then he could load them into the wheelbarrow to bring them to the theater. So it was just lots of very contrived, foolish notions, hence the town full of fools.
Yep.
The cast dismisses... The cast disperses to get out of their tutus and candle hats, while the mayor's wife tells the next story. She tells about how before she was a grandmother, she was a little girl, because time is a thing. The former girl grandmother recalls her first Hanukkah memory, and how the family was worried because their father was late coming home from his work. Mother tries to busy herself in the kitchen while they wait for their father, but Meshuga mother loses her mind and drags the children out into the cold. They go to town center and start to sing. Apparently it was a way of helping their father find his way home through the snowstorm. Their group singing draws the rest of the town, who join in, because they have nothing better to do. The singing is successful, and the father is able to find his way through the storm and to the loving arms of his family, who escort him home to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah.
This scene should have prepared us for the ones later.
I just barely realized that when they do those little interludes, it's the same family the whole time through.
And this should have prepared us.
Oh, I just barely realized that now.
and it didn't. And so when what happens later happens, it hits you like a Mack truck.
It broadsides you because they're framing it as like, hey, we are in modern times putting on this performance, but we're so into our characters that we are these people from long, long ago telling you stories, but we're also somehow in the 1940s. And also, like, it jumps, temporally, it jumps around a lot. Like, from where they are. And it does some serious tonal shifts that I was not ready for.
Nope.
Because it goes from being wacky and silly to, like, fucking dark.
Where it goes and when it goes there
catches you off guard.
Surprised the hell out of me.
It catches me off guard because
Oof.
Yeah, but like Kay was saying, this story of the family waiting for their father to get home and stuff, this is the beginning. Like, I didn't realize it, but it's day one of Hanukkah in that particular bubble of time and space.
Yeah, and the way that these are done is these are the skits that the people of Helm are putting on. Because the people of Helm are present day, but still the Village of Fools. And
yeah, it's confusing.
It's very confusing. But it's a good confusing.
But the mayor comes back after his wife's story and is like, I can't find Yonkel. Yonkel is nowhere to be found. Then he hauls off and hits his wife in the face. Accidentally, of course. It's not that kind of story. I was going to joke and say this isn't a Lifetime story or something. What's the channel that always has, like, movies? Lifetime. Like, every movie is about a man who beats his wife or something like that.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay. While they're asking if there is a doctor in the house, they find the next best thing, an upside-down Christmas tree. I mean, a menorah. What else could it be? 9 branches, 9 candles. You'd have to be an idiot to think it's something else. So while they're in they have a great line, like, I think it's the woman in the green dress, and she's like, is there a doctor in the house? And also, are you single?
Yes.
And, they pass up this cloth Christmas tree, but they have it upside down, and they're like, oh, it's some weird looking menorah. What else could it possibly be? I did think it was funny in the show how many good-spirited pokes they do at Christianity, and not I shouldn't say Christianity, but Christmas in general, because, them talking about, like, their Jews do not commercialize their holiday like Christians do for Christmas. And because yeah.
It's one of those things that their opening bit where they're talking about how they, Christmas is just everywhere, and the Chinese restaurant comment and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I identify with this 100%.
Like in this song, they're like, this holiday lasts a month.
This holiday is a month and a half long.
Yeah. Okay. After the menorah tree song, the mayor asks, where did you get this menorah? Pink Flower Head and Blue Yarmulke Guy talk about how they wandered through a door right out of The Nightmare Before Christmas and found themselves in Christmas Town, where they robbed Santa for a special menorah. I mean, they said he gave it to them as a gift, but this shady cast of characters looks bloodthirsty to me. So they have this bit where they're like, we walked out and found ourselves in the Festival of Lights, and there was a man sitting on a throne with big red robes and a long beard, and he asked us what we want and something. And they were like, and he laughed, oi, oi, oi. Yeah. That's not how he laughed. But yeah, and so they basically are like, hey, we got this Christmas tree menorah from Santa Claus. Everyone runs off stage to hide the evidence of their crime, and Professor Plum mimes riding a bike to run on stage and tell a story of Judah, who leads his mighty army against Antiochus.
Yep, Antiochus.
Thank you. Professor Plum dances with his Judah doll, while the mayor forebodingly is like, is he a true hero, or is he just playing with his doll? We shall see. And he lists off some things. He's like, a true hero is sensitive and resourceful and puts others above themselves. And he's like, is this boy, a true hero like Judah, or is he just playing at being a hero?
Yeah.
Professor Plum laments about not having enough money to buy his mother and father a Hanukkah present. He asks the mayor what should he do to get money. The mayor is like, you could sell your imaginary bike, but if you do it, it will make it harder for you to get to school and to work. Professor Plum is like, I need to put others above myself. Turns out, Plum is a true hero after all, putting others above himself. Plum tries to convince his elderly neighbors to buy his invisible bike, but they're like, we're old! We don't want your fucking bike! Plum is like, a true hero doesn't take no for an answer. I know, I'll build an elaborate frame around my imaginary bike so the old fucks can ride it, just like Judah would do. Plum sets out about making presents for his neighbors, and I guess it works because... okay.
It's not a frame around the bike.
Okay, because all he talks about, like, he talks about constructing something that would be on his bike so that the old people could use it.
What he does is he takes apart his bike and he makes part of it into basically a walker for the old woman so that she can walk around easier, and then the rest of it he uses to create a rail for their stairs so that they can actually leave the house and walk down the stairs. And
see, this is why Kay is here, because she pays attention to things. I like my version better though, because I picture like this shoddily put together cage around this bike with like a little passenger cart that the grandma can sit in while the... Get in, Grandma! We're going on a ride!
Oh my gosh.
And I guess it works because we see him give the invisible modified bike for old people to the old people, then sing with the mayor about how now he is a true hero, just like Judah Maccabee. Now that Plum has his money from selling his only means of transportation, he goes and buys a fancy menorah for his parents, who give him a new bell for his bike that he sold.
Gift of the Magi.
This is turning into a gift of the Magi up in here.
Yes!
Never mind. Plum's parents apparently bought him a new bike to go along with his new bike bell. Looks like you lucked out on this one, Plum boy. Pink Flower Head Lady and Blue Yarmulke Boy talk about how gift-giving is different all over the world, and Blue gets the bright idea that if everyone gave gifts to everyone, they'd all be rich. Kay had to remind me it's a city of fools, and you did that multiple times throughout the course of this, which made me laugh.
City of fools, babe. City of fools.
Oh, I guess Pink and Blue are looking for a kosher hen for Hanukkah dinner.
So great.
But then they decide they want chicken fat. No, wait, now butter. Wait, no, now oil. Wait, now they want water. Wait, now they're getting water. It turns out that they screwed up their simple task of getting a kosher hen. Oy vey. And so, like, in this situation, I don't know, you probably can help me elaborate on it, because it's like, first they're set out with a simple task. You've given 2 rubles, go get us a kosher hen.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, we're going to go get a kosher hen. So they go to, like, the butcher or whatever to get a kosher hen, and he's like, oh, well, I also have this chicken fat that it works, it's just as creamy and good as butter. And they're like, well, if it's just as good as butter, then we should get butter. And then it snowballs from there. They go to the person with butter, like, oh, my butter is as good as oil. Oh, well, if it's as good as oil, then let's just go get oil. My oil is as clear as water. Well, if it's as clear as water, let's just get water.
Water's free.
Water's free. And then they go back and they're like, and the woman's like, where's my chicken? Here's your water. Now I have to go get a kosher hen.
Yep.
So, I don't know, I'm sure you picked up the nuances of the exchanges between how they went to go get a kosher hen and ended up with water.
Because, like, the first one is the butcher, and the butcher mentions that the chicken is fat. And it's kind of like a game of telephone, because he says it into her ear, and all that she hears is chicken fat, and she's like, chicken fat is better than the chicken, so let's go get chicken fat. And then they go to get chicken fat, and the guy whispers in her ear, basically saying, oh, it's as creamy as butter, and they're like, well, let's go get butter. And so it's a game of telephone.
Okay,
leading to them getting...
I just thought they were stupid fucking kids and there was lead in the water. But maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know.
This is why we don't have human children. One of many reasons.
Oh, I'm sure I would probably be nicer to my kids. Okay, these people are beyond fools. They're fucking idiots. We were then... Wow, I typed this up bad. We then watched Pink and Blue talk to Colonel Mustard, who talks about how his buttered bread landed butter side up, because he is so lucky. But Pink was quick to point out, you buttered the wrong side of your bread. Oy vey! This whole thing of like, anytime he has buttered bread and he drops it, it always lands butter side down. But this time when he dropped his buttered bread, it landed butter side up, because luck was on his side. And then she's like, oh, well, there's your problem. You buttered the wrong side of your bread. It still landed upside down, but you put butter on the wrong side, so it's right side up.
Oh my gosh. I love this show.
It is fucking bonanza. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh fuck. Okay. Oh shit. Shit got real. They're talking about Hanukkah during the rise of the Nazis and about trucks carting off Jews. Mm-hmm. And people can't be out after curfew and they can't have any lights lit. Holy fuck, this went from silly to Nazis.
Yup.
This is where Kay and I were like, oh god, so the first night of Hanukkah was the father's late getting home and it's a bad blizzard, let's go sing to help him find his way. Mm-hmm. And then day 2 or 3 or whatever it was of Hanukkah is, hey, they're taking the neighbors and we can't have any lights on in the house, but we're gonna light these. But the family is a bunch of rebels. They light a match and huddle around it, talking about Hanukkah and how light is everything. Light can always overcome the dark, especially when we share our light with one another. It is a really touching scene that I wish that... I kind of watched it more than I took notes on it, because the father is telling them, like, they can't have a menorah because the candles will be burning and the Nazis will see it and they'll come kick down the door and do bad Nazi stuff. But he instead has a match, and so they're all huddled around. He lights this match, and he talks about the importance of light, and he says it's very important to them and their culture, and he gives a lot of metaphor about, or I should say analogy about the light being their own light, their own inner light, you could say their soul, and talking about how light shines the brightest when you share it with others. And so he would take that match and light another match and then light another match, and then it was they were trying to bring hope to a very grim situation, and it's no bueno. Oh fuck. The family was rounded up and put on a train. The little girls are talking about how they don't understand why people are so scared and upset. This little girl just wants to make her family smile and sing, because it's Hanukkah after all. This little girl inspires the train full of sad, scared people to find the light within themselves and have hope. So, the next day, after they're at home, they get rounded up and put on a train, and then it's from the perspective of the older sister who's like, my younger sister doesn't understand, like she doesn't understand why father is so scared and so upset because he's always so loving and so happy, and she just wants him to be happy. And it's fuck, these scenes are really, really, really heavy. Side note, fuck Nazis.
Yes.
Anyways, back to something not Nazi related for now. The mayor says it's almost intermission, and they encourage the audience to go buy concessions, since all the proceeds go to funding the something Society for Young Inventors. I did not remember what the name was. You probably didn't either, because it was
It was very quick, too.
And they only say it once. But
I was still processing what we had just seen.
Yeah.
Because there is, like, nothing to breathe in between that moment and...
They shift gears quickly.
Very quickly.
So anyway, all the concessions raise money to go to the something Society for Youth Inventors, who last year
pioneered such amazing inventions as waterproof towels and glow-in-the-dark sunglasses. Maybe this year they'll research a self-fucking Nazi. Go buy a jelly donut. I mean, it would save a lot of time and effort if Nazis would just fuck themselves.
Holy shit.
Back to food.
Oh my god.
You can lay there until you regain your composure, love. Back to food. Blue Yarmulke Boy says he can make potato latkes from a crust of bread only. Everyone else ridicules him, saying, there's way more than a crust of bread in latkes. I say that word, latkes.
Yes.
Like fucking potatoes, for one, since that is the chief ingredient in latkes. Blue Boy insists that Hanukkah is a time for miracles. Everyone is like, are you sure you don't need, like, main ingredients in your latkes? Blue Boy is like, I mean, I like a simple batter, but some people like more flavors. Extra ingredients get added, but they insist that it is a miracle he made potato latkes out of a crust of bread and nothing else. Luckily, the fools are merciful and give us an intermission. So this, while the scene, like so many others, is just ridiculous, it is kind of funny how, like, he's like, all I need is this crust of bread and a mixing bowl, and he's mixing it up, and they're like, that doesn't look right. Like, are you sure you don't need this? You sure you don't need that? And it gets to the point where they're just adding in all the proper ingredients you need, and then the batter looks perfect. They're like, now we need oil to fry it in, and da-da-da-da-da, and they have their latkes, and they're like, hey, I can't believe that you did this with just a crust of bread.
It's one of those moments that reminds me of, like, the Aesop fables with the crow or the fox being like, oh, well, I need this thing, but I don't want to go out and get the ingredients for this thing, so, hey, I'm gonna do this with a rock. Well, no, you need this for it. You need this to make bread, and you need this to make bread, and everyone else brings it, and it's like, haha, thank you.
Just tricking I mean, I would say he's not being clever and tricking everyone. He's being an idiot, being like, I can do it.
No, but it reminded me of those Aesop fables a little bit, But
if everybody in them was an idiot.
Yes.
Oh, I shouldn't say an idiot. Fools.
I feel like the two kids are a bit wise, like a little bit wiser than
Pink and Blue?
Yeah, Pink and Blue tend to be a little bit wiser. They're naive, but there is some wisdom in what they do, because this was also because the women were arguing about who makes the best latkes. And that's when he went, oh, I've got an idea.
Like,
I can make it out of a loaf of bread, or out of a crust of bread. And
so you think that he was playing 10-dimensional chess?
Yeah, just to get everybody together and to stop arguing, and so.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility that I won't discount. Verbally. Oh, fuck, that's right. No break for me. They're back. Intermission is not a thing when you're watching it at home. And the women are wearing donut skirts. Cool. Cool things are cool. This is not one of them. They sure are saying die a lot on screen right now. I don't feel safe right now, okay? Because they're going, die,
it's the equivalent of, like, la, 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 la.
Die. I know. It's like D-A-I.
Yeah.
But they were saying die a lot. And I don't feel safe, okay? Blue Boy stops the die song by singing very loudly and making everyone go, holy shit, I guess it's his number now. Oh, never mind. I guess he is bellowing. I just kicked... God damn, fuck me.
Later.
I guess his bellowing just kicked off part 2 of the die song, minus the dying. Oh god, now they're like playing junkyard instruments? I see bottles, a washboard, a cowbell, some odd ukulele guitar banjos, but this is somehow transitioning into a dreidel song? Mm-hmm. Ha! South Park was right. Kyle does sing the proper dreidel song. Dreidel, 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 mm-hmm. I made you out of clay, and when you're dry and ready, with dreidel I shall play. Oh, sweet. Sweet time to get crunk.
Oh, never mind. They're balancing bottles on their heads. Are these actually Jewish things? 'Cause hot damn, they know how to party. Balancing bottles on your heads and then running around dancing, singing?
That, I want to say, happens at weddings. You'll see, so when we do Fiddler on the Roof, and we do the version that I was in, the guy who, was it Model? Yeah, the guy who plays Model had to learn to do the balancing on his head, and they ended up, if I remember right, putting Velcro at the bottom of the bottle, just because it's one of those, you know what, safety.
Yeah, you don't want to be dancing on stage with broken
But
glass.
yeah, no, that is a dance that is done.
You know, I've never been so drunk that I put a bottle on my head and danced around, so...
I don't know that... I don't know if it's just I don't know. I don't know why it's done. I don't know why most things are done.
Do you know if the bottle head balancing thing is part of the dreidel song?
It is not part of the dreidel song.
Okay, because they do it during the dreidel song.
Well, they do that actually during Hava Nagila when they transition into that. Because it's sort of like a medley of... Because they start out with Christmas songs with a Hebrew flair. And then
Hebrew words to the Christmas song.
Yes, and then it transitions into the dreidel song, and then it transitions into Hava Nagila.
And you know what all those things have in common? They were just all part of the end of the intermission song.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they were.
Yep.
I'm saying, like, they just come right out of intermission, and it's like 3 songs in 1 because we don't have time to fuck around. And then they're like, the intermission is over, yay! And I was like, holy fuck, that was all just part of the we're back from intermission? Like, Jesus Christ, these people are just, like, they're just freebasing Latkes in the back, just dusting them with cocaine. I don't know. They have so much energy. The fools talk about how the concession sales were very good, and that they'll now be able to make a very healthy donation to those less fortunate than them. But they converse over how to keep the cash box safe from thieves until the night is over. Turns out the best option is to suspend the cash box from the ceiling so that no one can reach it. And Colonel Mustard will just build a staircase so that they can reach it. Brilliant use of time and energy, y'all. In case the mood was recovering too much from the Nazi part earlier,
Yep.
they're now singing about a man who made a dreidel for his daughter who was lame. That's rude, calling his daughter lame.
Not his daughter.
Lame like crippled. Oh, the girl used to be a dancer, a talented dancer, who would spin like a dreidel. This number is a little somber. Oh, never mind, that guy is not her father, just a kind village person who I guess makes dreidels. Oh, apparently the girl and her father were trampled by a horse, and daddy died, but Tikva, I think is how I say her name, was just crippled. Lucky her, right? Anyways, the dreidel maker gives a dreidel to Tikva's mother, and is like, give this to your daughter, please. Turns out, Tikva is also lame at spinning dreidels. Oh no!
God damn it.
She dropped her dreidel down the stairs, which is supposed to be a hill. Tikva is able to rise to her feet, stumbling and struggling her way to her dreidel. It's a Hanukkah miracle! The entire town celebrates the dreidel miracle with cake! A Chanukah ache. That is a really bad pun.
The expression that you gave me was so full of...
It's because I knew it was bullshit when I typed it out, and I was like, I'm gonna commit to it. If anything, just to see how Kay reacts to this. Oh, hey, they're gonna tell us the meaning of the dreidel. So, a douche king, way back when, used to forbid the Jews from reading the Torah, so they would meet in secret to read the Torah, and they developed a game/warning system in case a nosy king spy was looking for any Jews doing shifty things, like reading. The symbols inscribed on the dreidel spell out a great miracle happened here. So it was like, this thing means great, this means miracle, this means happened, this, and I can't remember the names of the different symbols, the words, But the whole idea was that if you lay them out, it means a great miracle happened here. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was cool. I did not know that. I always wondered. I just thought that they were religious tops. I never knew. I'm just uncultured swine in more than one way.
It's fine, because I had that... as they were starting the explanation, I was like, I have had this explained to me exactly once.
So I think...
It might have been in a Rugrats special.
That's pretty great. I think I grasped that story. Mostly, partly, definitely partly. Oh, hey, they're all now dressed up in dreidel costumes, singing the dance of the dreidel. What was in those fucking latkes? Latkes? They were definitely laced with something. This, you know how we tell Weber to pick a fucking tone? These guys...
Yeah.
These guys were all over the place. They were like, childlike whimsy! Worst, like, horrible genocide. Like, let's be silly and wear silly costumes. Death! Like... Oh my god, my heart couldn't handle it because I was bouncing around going like, this is silly and kind of fun and a little bit stupid. Oh my god. Oh, okay, it's back to being a little bit silly and what the fuck? Like, I have emotional whiplash from this show, even though it was entertaining to watch. I think that it might be one of those shows that is best enjoyed with a little chemical additive. Take your pick, dealer's choice, but I have a feeling that something will enhance the show experience for you.
Especially with all the bright colors.
Hey, Pinky has a riddle for you, Kay.
Yeah.
And Blue, by extension. Which is more important, the sun or the moon? The moon, of course, because it shines at night when we need it. The sun shines all day long when we have no use for it.
Yep.
Oh, God. Hey, remember that fun, super upbeat Nazi part earlier? Well, we're back to that family.
Yeah.
In a concentration camp. The prisoners were able to scrape together bits and pieces, wood from shoes for dreidels, potatoes for latkes, and silver spoons crusted with bits of fat to act as candles. This scene is rough. Again,
yes.
I'd like to say, fuck Nazis. Mm-hmm. Come on, scientists, let's work on a self-face-fucking Nazi. That will keep them busy. After the prisoners say their prayers over the makeshift menorah, they join hands and sing. It's a heavy...
Yeah.
It's a heavy scene, but it keeps that... I've noticed that on all of the really heavy scenes, the underlying tone is always, there is hope, we will persevere. There is hope, we will persevere.
Yeah.
No matter what they do to us, they can't extinguish our light, kind of thing.
Yes.
So, to the show's credit, every time they kick you in the junk, they at least pat you on the head and go, it'll be okay.
And even though those scenes are really painful, I feel like those scenes are why people need to see this show.
No, and that's exactly right.
Because sometimes you just... Because there are asshats out there who are anti-Semitic garbage piles that need to either stop being anti-Semitic garbage piles or just stop.
I get a
little angry.
Oddly enough, we don't like discrimination.
Yeah.
Wait, Kay, you as a black woman, what would you possibly know about discrimination? I'll go back to my notes now.
I wish I had the ability to do a cricket chirp noise with my mouth.
Hey, you could add that in post if you want.
Probably will.
But now, it's time to talk about Judah Maccabee.
Yes.
The Hammer. Basically, King Antiochus IV conquered Jerusalem. And he was like, hey Jews, you worship our gods now. And the Jews were like, no.
You worship our gods now?
Our gods now. You worship our God. We are you. All your gods belong to us. And the Jews were like, no, go fuck yourself. Antiochus is like, scientists have not yet developed a way for me to do that, or I wouldn't be bothering you. Instead, I'll burn down your temple. Later, a bunch of Jews were rounded up and told they had to pay respects to the statue of Antiochus or die. And before a guard could kill one of them, Matthias jumped in and was like, "We will not worship your idol gods. Go fuck your own face." The guard was like, "If I could, I wouldn't be here. Now die!" Matthias gets killed, but he's like, "Jews, rally, follow my son Judah, the hammer, who will lead you to victory." They say that since this is a family show, with Nazis and the Holocaust, but they're not going to go into details of the bloody 3 years of war.
I did first read Number the Stars in second grade, so...
Well, was that required reading, or...
Yeah, a little bit.
That's rough. But yeah, since, it's a family-friendly show, hence the Nazis and the Holocaust parts, but they're not going to go into the bloody details of the 3-year-long war. However, Judah and his army beat back Antiochus, and when they go to their temple, it's all fucked up, because he burned it down. They decide to fix it, but they don't have enough oil to keep the menorah burning for 8 days, because God is good. Instead of preventing lots of death, God did them a solid and stretched that oil out magically so they could keep the candles burning. Thanks, God. You did your good deed for the millennium. Bam! Totally accurate recounting of Hanukkah. You're welcome.
Continue.
But yeah, that's why they celebrate the oil and the rededicating of the temple for 8 days. And I guess the fact that the underdog beat back a superior military force. That's a fair thing to count as a miracle. The group is like, "Yonkel should be here. He would have loved it." Little did they know, Yonkel is actually Chewbacca, who is like Mazel Tov and comes on stage to thank the cast for putting on a good show. And their delightful, wacky retellings of these stories. To show their gratitude to Yonkel Chewbacca, they bestow upon him the title of Chief Sage. Oi! But the sage needs golden sneakers, otherwise people won't know he's the chief sage. But where will they find golden sneakers at this time of day? Oh, hey, here are some golden sneakers. But there's a problem. If the sage wears the golden sneakers, they'll get all muddy, and no one will know that he's the sage with the golden sneakers. Now, I know, he can wear shoes over the golden sneakers to keep the mud off of them. But if he wears shoes over the sneakers, people won't know that he has the golden sneakers, and they won't know that he's the sage. But what if they cut holes in the shoes so that the gold shines through? Same problem, though. Mud will get in the holes and get all over the golden sneakers. What if they stuff the holes with straw? Same problem. The stuffed holes will hide the golden sneakers, and no one will know that he's the sage. Aha! The brilliantest of plans from the wisest of the wise folk. The chief sage will wear the golden sneakers on his head. That way they will stay clean and everyone will know he is the chief sage. Brilliant! Let's all sing in Hebrew and celebrate how smart we are.
So, that was Bruce Valanche that plays...
I have heard his name before, but I don't know anything about him other than apparently he's Jewish.
So, that shirt that he was wearing...
The Chewbacca?
Yeah. Want to know why it's funny?
Because Chewbacca rhymes with Jew?
Not just that. So, Bruce Valanche has written some screenplays.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He wrote that?
He co-wrote it.
How did 5 people work on that turd? And how was it directed by 2 people? Wow. Okay, you know what, Bruce? Fuck you, Bruce. I don't care whatever else he's done. That is a black spot on his soul forever and ever.
So for this amazing radio that just happened, do you want to tell our wonderful listeners what I just showed you.
Bruce Valanche is partially responsible for the atrocious Star Wars holiday special, which focuses around the Wookiees celebrating Life Day and has some really awkward, like, cyber sex stuff in it, as well as Mark Hamill and Mark Hamill on cocaine and
Yep.
oh crap, her name is evading me again.
Carrie
I hate
Fisher?
Carrie Fisher. Thank you. Why am I having the hardest time remembering Carrie Fisher? God damn it. Yeah. So apparently, yeah, awesome. Great job, Bruce Valanche. Now,
He was so great that watching him trying to stumble around.
I don't know if I know he's a heavier gentleman.
And he is an actor, and he's done musical theater.
Okay, so maybe he is facing the same thing you did and has destroyed knees and ankles because of his musical theater. Because he looked like he was mobility challenged.
I don't think that they actually ran through.
No, but I just
This-
mean like when him walking, the way he walks, he like shuffles
yeah,
his feet and
he
he
probably
he took baby steps. Really,
He's also 71 currently, and this was in 2017. So
well,
he is up there.
Okay,
he's getting
okay.
up there.
Yeah, you know who also is in their 70s? Keir Delay.
Actually, he's in his 80s, but he is an outlier and should not be counted. Because even though he is in his 80s, he is like...
He's been taking care of
he
himself
has
for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna burn out by my 50s and be begging for death probably. So after Chewbacca Valanche gets his golden sage slipper earrings, and the cast sings in Hebrew about how smart they are for figuring out how to solve this problem, the cast does a Hanukkah song and dance number while the chief sage stands there all awkward-like. After the number, they escort his golden sageness off stage and come back for their bow number. And there was some stuff that I missed that happened in between there. Oh, it was that great bit that they did where they were saying the wrong names for...
Yes,
how did it start? Do you remember how it started?
What does Meshuggah mean?
That's right.
Then, Meshuggah, isn't that a ritualistic bath? No, that's a... I can't remember the one that they said that for. And then, no, that's a good deed. No, that's a mitzvah.
Yeah.
No.
And it just snowballs from there, and
That's
they're
the
all...
bread you eat at Passover. No, that's matzah.
Yep. And it just snowballs from there, and then the mayor comes out, and he just says a bunch of stuff in Yiddish, but he basically does the equivalent of potato, but in Yiddish, and he's like, let's call the whole thing off. And
Yep.
that's when they're like, hey, thanks for being here, let's do our bows, and the show's over. And I will say, this show had probably the best post-credit scene
Yes.
of any show we have watched.
Yes.
Because it had them on the streets, like in their costumes, talking to random people and asking them to pronounce Hebrew words. You know, because I did not know this. I did not know that Hanukkah was spelled with a CH until we saw this show. I have always seen Hanukkah spelled with no CH.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, wow, that's a gross misrepresentation of the word. Like, but whatever.
Yeah, because the CH is what makes the sound. And so it should be Hanukkah instead of Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
Hoi vey, ke?
Well, there's no CH in Oy vey, but...
Fuck you, lady. You're lucky you're so cute. But this, I have emotions over the show.
Yeah.
Because it was entertaining. I hesitate to say that I wouldn't mind watching it again without having to take notes, because it was colorful and silly and wacky and entertaining. But then those fucking Holocaust parts, just...
We'll probably end up watching it with Mama Kay at some point, because I know that she wanted to see this one too, but couldn't see it with us this week. So.
Nice. Oh, God. But yeah, like, just tonal whiplash, like a very, like, oh, God. excluding those parts, very lighthearted.
Yes.
You know, when you take the Nazis out of it, it's really a lighthearted show. But even the parts that are heavy are done really, really, really well, and are very meaningful.
Yeah.
In the way that they're done. Good show. The cast had a lot of positive energy. They were just having a lot of fun with it. But like I joked earlier, there's parts where they're singing songs that are just entirely in Hebrew, and it's like, good fucking luck. Like, I would have loved if the subtitles actually had, like, here's the translation for you Anglos. Like,
yeah, this show was wild and I loved it.
it was entertaining.
And I'm gonna be having the songs stuck in my head, and I've now finally got lyrics to put with Nutcracker Suite to make it better.
Honestly, that's the thing too, is like I've said before, the Nutcracker in my youth was done so to death that I hate it.
Yeah.
This was entertaining, and I liked how they satired a lot of Christmas stuff, and they would put Jewish lyrics and themes to Christmas songs, you know, kind of thing, and it just made me laugh because, yeah, for real, like, Christmas just overrides every other holiday.
It's time for Christmas to stop.
I'll just, you know, I've ranted and raved about the over-commercialization of Christmas for decades because, one, I'm poor, so I can't afford to be super materialistic.
Yeah.
But anyway, show was good. Show was good. Lighthearted and heavy at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was good. If you have Amazon Prime and you want to watch a experience,
yes,
you should check out
experience.
MeshugaNutcracker.
Yes, MeshugaNutcracker. And I was finally able to find it on Spotify. I was spelling it wrong for Spotify.
What? You mean you didn't know how to spell these Yiddish words off the top of your
well, I kept... then again, whenever I search for something on Spotify at work, it's got to be like, okay, I have 60 seconds to be able to find it, and if I can't find it, then I'm moving on to...
Oh, it was tricky to find our podcast on
Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah, so it's like...
Because you have the colon after tone deaf.
Except now it's easier. Like, even though it still has the colon, enough people have listened that it's easier to find it.
That's true.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. So thank you, wonderful listener.
Thank you.
And a happy Hanukkah to you.
In...
Oh, yeah, it's not yet.
Couple of days.
By the time...
22nd.
Okay, so not by the time you listen
Not
to
by
this.
the time you listen to this.
The week after you listen to this.
Yes, during the week with our next show.
Oh, our last show of the year.
Our last show of the year.
Our last show of the year. That blows me away, Kay. We've been doing this for almost a year.
Yep.
Almost a year. A show every week. Sometimes multiple shows every week.
Yes.
Because we, Kay and Warren of Tone Deaf, care about you, good listeners, and we hope to entertain you relentlessly.
And boy, next week will be entertaining.
Next week will be a bit of a different show because I cannot take my laptop into the theater to take notes.
Nope.
So it will be a different.
Yes. I don't know if it's going to be formatted the same way. I'm going to see how much I can pull up about the show that we're talking about with regards to the specific adaptation of it.
With the air quotes.
Yes.
You know, is it fair to call it an adaptation, or would it be better to call it a bastardization?
It's something.
I'm leaning towards bastardization just based off of the two trailers we've seen.
Oh, God.
I mean, but then, who knows? Who knows? We are setting ourselves up for such high disappointment. Maybe it will surprise us.
Maybe. But my sister is looking forward to watching me cringe because she's going to come with us. I don't think she's going to do the episode with us, but she is going to come with us to see it.
Maybe we could talk her into it.
We could see.
We'll see. We might. It has yet to be said, but maybe we'll have a special guest appearance on.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But, yeah. Next week, we're, covering the new, not so improved monstrous abomination that is the Cats movie. God help us all.
God has abandoned us. I mean, it's just my personal thought, regarding this specifically. I don't know. This exists because of money, and we'll see. They got silver lining, Kay. We got to be positive. We got to find the inner light so that we can share that light, because that light will help drive away the darkness. And the light that I can think of with this next show is that the music is going to be great.
Yes, the music will be great. The music will be great.
Music will be great.
Yeah.
And that might be the only thing.
And James Corden hisses at one point, so that's fun.
Sure.
He goes at one point.
Yeah, sure. I like James Corden, but at the same time I'm like, you fucking bastard. Anyway, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
Wish us luck, listeners.
Oh.
We're going to be diving in.
Thoughts and prayers, listeners.
Thoughts and prayers. So, thank you all for listening. We hope that we covered Hanukkah well enough, because again, this isn't something that we ever celebrated, but wanted to try and, cover it correctly as much as we can. I was actually looking to see if there were Kwanzaa musicals, and there is one, but it doesn't all I can find is that there was one that was performed once, and I'm all, great!
Is it kind of like Futurama with the what the hell is Kwanzaa pamphlets?
No, it actually goes into it, into the spirit behind it, and so I was sitting here going, I wonder if I could sneak that in between the Cats and the end of the year, and I'm like, nope, I can't find it, so nope.
Oh, damn, I was going to say, if you could find it, dope, let's do it. But
no, I
looked
looked and I couldn't find it, so listeners, if you're able to find the Kwanzaa musical, then send it our way.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, because
who knows? Maybe it'll become available next holiday season.
Maybe next holiday season we'll do the Kwanzaa musical. If not, we'll I don't know.
we'll play it by ear.
We'll play it by ear next year. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this wild and wacky episode of Tone Deaf. And
if you wanna get a hold of us and say hi, you can head on over to our central hub, our website, tonedeafmusical.com. It has links to our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as the Cast Junkie Discord server, which Kay and I spend a decent amount of time in. Yep. We have our own channel in, so you can come in and say hi, and there's lots of awesome podcasts on there, audio dramas, lots of other discussionary podcasts like what we have, but they're all independent podcasts, and they are freaking great.
They really are.
Holy crap, and we've met so many just awesome people. It's a great community. I don't normally do social media because the world is a cesspool, but everybody on this place, like dicks are not allowed. Like they do. Everybody is super cool. Yeah. And so if you want a cool community and come join, hang out, it's awesome. Yeah. And we just want to thank you guys so much for coming back week after week. And if you want to help us out, please give us a review on Podchaser, Apple Podcasts if you can.
Castbox has the feature, I think, to do reviews too.
Share us with your friends and family, any other people who enjoy musical theater or just enjoy listening to an idiot badly recount musicals.
And yeah, if you want to go above and beyond, we do have our Patreon. I'm trying to get episodes put up a little early for patrons, as well as we still have one more entry in the Oil of Olay musicals that we need to do.
We do? I thought we did them all.
No, there's still one more entry.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
interesting. Those have been pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta say, listeners, there's some good stuff on our patrons only. Paint Your Wagon was particularly fun.
Yep.
As well as the Capitalism Gone Wild stuff is entertaining.
Yes, and maybe if Progressive will will throw us a bone and do Progressive on Ice, we'll cover that.
I would love to.
Please, God.
I would love to. We should tweet this episode at them and be like, hey, Progressive.
Progressive.
We talk about you. We give you a free plug. Now make a goddamn musical.
Yes, give grabby hands.
All right. Kay and I are turning into pumpkins on this side of the mic.
Yes, we are. So that'll be it for this week. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
This has been
Tone
Tone Deaf.